Dr. Marnita on fire. Hello, YouTubers. I'm back again. This is Dr. Marnita on fire. As most of you already know, owner of P3 Purposepreneur. And at Purposepreneur, we are pattern makers. And as y'all already know, you know how we do it. Pattern makers are move makers. And as all of you know, I have been searching out Purposepreneur for a long time now. And I've come across our guest tonight. I came across him because he was talking about purpose. He caught my ear. And anybody who's talking about purpose, they know they have my ear. And I've been following him on his YouTube channel, on all of his social media, and he is absolutely amazing. We're going to have a conversation. Of course, it's going to be around purpose. Y'all know how I like to do it. So I want to introduce you today to Mr. Raekwon Jones.
What's going on? Super excited to be here.
Glad to have you here. So glad you agreed to be in on this conversation today. Raekwon, like I said, I reached out to you and I made a comment on one of your videos or your podcasts for Beyond Prosperity. That's the name of his podcast channel. Is that correct?
It's Beyond Prosperous.
Beyond Prosperous, like
Yes.
Get me right now. Like, so we won't continue to propagate that through this conversation. And I reached out to him because I really love the way he puts together his content and in sharing his experience as it relates to purpose and prosperity.
Yeah.
So can you tell our audience just a little bit about what made you get into helping to guide people into their purpose? Tell me, what was that like for you?
Okay. So little ways ago, when I was in high school, actually, is when it happened. And this is, I feel like, my origin story. And so I'm taking the ACT test and I'm like getting 17, then next time 18, the next time 19. And I'm also playing football. And so in the classroom, fire, like I make good grades, teachers love me, like other students learn from me, but for whatever reason, the ACT it's always giving me trouble. And on the football field, killing it. Like I was the guy in my county. So like I'm breaking records and all these things. And what my coach and my teacher, what they both tell me is they talk to me about how much potential I had. And so everybody telling me about how much potential I had and how much potential I had. And then I found myself a couple of years later, I'm married, wanting to build wealth, wanting to have a family where we're not worried about finances, because that's the way that I grew up. We were worried about this stuff. And I found myself working in a warehouse, at a Coca-Cola warehouse. And I'm just like this is not adding up to me. My teachers, my coach, they told me how much potential I had. They told me all the stuff that I could do. And I find myself in this space where I'm just like, how, after all this work that I put in, I still find myself not feeling in purpose, not feeling fulfilled, not feeling like I'm living a life that I was created to live. And it confused me. And so with that confusion, it started me on my own journey to purpose. And so looking back, I've actually created this framework, right? So I've created this framework, and this was after Beyond Prosperous, and we'll get into some more of those stories. But I created this framework that I went through to find my purpose and to ultimately know exactly what I'm here for. And it's to help people find their purpose. And that framework is potential, it's productivity, it's proficiency, and it's purpose. And I believe that if people could adopt this framework and apply it to their life in the direction that they believe God is calling them, that they'll be able to find their purpose. And so that was the process that I had to go through to find my purpose, to help other people find theirs.
So is that a framework that you access regularly in order to help guide people to find their purpose? Because I do know, for me, when I'm asking people, so what is it that you want to do? There has to be a want, because God has given us a desire, whether we know it or not.
Mhm.
Is that a framework that can help people become aware of the gifts and the purposes that has been downloaded in them before they were even born?
Absolutely. And so these different words that I said between potential, productivity, proficiency, and purpose, these are all phases that we go through. And in general, there is like this, it breaks down further and further. But in general, potential is about identity. So when we start our journey, it's about understanding our identity, understanding who God created us to be. And actually, I use this framework to create a lot of my content. It's crazy, but I use this framework to create my content. I'm finding that this framework fits in so many different areas of my life. And so, like I said, with potential, it's identity. With productivity, it's actually it's our habits. It's the things that happen without us even thinking. It's the unconscious versus the conscious. And so it's how do we put ourselves in an environment that we are able to execute unconsciously, like Myra is talking about, unconsciously the things that we're supposed to do, and then go to proficiency. And so, yes, like walking people through this framework, they begin to build that confidence. They begin to find that identity as they identify the potential, and then they get proactive on that potential and find and in their identity to ultimately become proficient in the things that they need to become proficient at that will lead them to their purpose. So yes, like I use it in everything.
I think that's amazing. And for those of you who don't know, Raekwon and I have the same coach,
Mhm.
Myron Golden, and he often talks about mastery. As a matter of fact, we just came off an amazing conference, Offer Mastery Live 2023. And it was so amazing. Both he and I, for sure, have walked away with some nuggets that's going to last us, if not the rest of this year and beyond. Is going to even propagate further for us as we move into our future in becoming masterful in what we do. And I like that you said that, because both of us have been to like multiple upon multiple challenges of Myron's, where he talks about what mastery is, which is the ability to execute effortlessly without the use of your conscious resources.
Yep.
And so and he actually breaks that down on how you do that, just one part at a time. Pick a part, master it, and it's called mastery building.
Mhm.
Taking components and compounding those components of a skill until you do it where you can't get it wrong. And they
That's so
say
good.
something, I think they said this, and you can correct me if I'm wrong. They said something like this at the conference, and we've heard it several times, as average people do things until they can get it right. When you're working in excellence, you do things until you can't get it wrong.
100%.
Is that, is
Yes.
that, is that
Yes.
100%? There you go. See you there. So thank you so much for sharing that. So can you tell us now, where you are in your journey of entrepreneurship, because you were told early on, unlike myself, that you had all of this potential that, and that potential has everything to do with your identity. Like you
Mhm.
said, that's the person that you are. That's the
Mhm.
person that you become. And you can't have anything that you are not. So
Right.
you did speak to that. Can you tell us, because I think I'm probably almost 3 times your age, but what really attracted me to you is that you're so young and you get it at such a young age. You didn't buy into all of the white noise of what you shoulda or you coulda or you ought to be doing. Someone gave you a word and you heard
Mm.
that word, and I do believe that word resonated in your ear, and you did something about it. Can you tell us, especially for like I don't know, is it Gen Z or Gen X? Or, I don't know, mature millennials. I'm a
We'll go with
baby
what.
boomer.
Right.
So we need the word too. So can you tell us how you began to become the person who can be productive in order to have the intensity to produce prosperity?
Absolutely, absolutely. And so, probably when I was 23, I had this thought, and it was just, it was really mind blowing to me. I said that there is a teacher out there that wants to be a chef, and there's a chef out there that wants to be a teacher. But because of what their parents told them and society told them, they never chose to do the thing that they felt purpose to do, but instead they went along the journey that they were told to go. And so when I realized that, I said, there is, and I'm guilty of it too. I mean, I'm guilty of starting other different kinds of businesses, knowing that this is the thing that I was supposed to do, but I was trying to find the quick stuff that would go ahead and get my family to where I wanted. And so what it was really identifying the fact that people are not really doing what they believe that they're supposed to do, but instead they're being cookie cuttered into what other people think that they're supposed to do. And so it was, I can't even remember exactly how it was said, but basically how so many people think that they're living their life, but when they're actually living the life of what other people have told them to live. And so when I realized that I can't do that, like it's impossible for me to do that, and I got into what God was actually leading me to do, like it changed everything for me. And so what I did was I went back into my history and I looked at the things that got me excited. I looked at the things that got me fired up. And the thing that got me fired up was helping other people. And so in middle school, I had this friend of mine. He was struggling in math, but he was like my best friend. And math came easy to me. Like I went to college for engineering. Math came easy to me. I do it for fun. And so I remember helping him and just doing it because like it wasn't out of like, I'm smarter than you, like let's do it. It was like, no, I had compassion. Like I at 13, I'm about 12, 13 years old, I loved him like a brother. And I was like, this is something that I can do. And then in high school, the same thing happened where I'm playing alongside one of my other friends that now he's playing Canada football, and he would always come to me for the serious stuff. So the stuff that he need real help on. It was like not just like football, but life stuff. He would come to me. And when he came to me and I would give him advice, I'm like, man, that's some pretty good advice. But those were the things that excited me. Those were the things that got me excited. And so that is where that kind of led me in the direction that I'm on now. And so where I am now, I would say I'm in my proficiency phase.
I
I'm
love
in this phase of mastering little things to ultimately help me create the greatest impact possible. And so that's where I am. I'm in purpose. All of it is purposeful, but I'm in the proficiency phase, figuring the details out.
Okay, so as you're walking in your purpose, does it seem like the further you're walking into your purpose, you are exposing yourself to even more potential of elevating your purpose at a higher level? It's almost like you have, as you're walking, you get new receptor sources that you come in contact with. And so you just want to learn and do and serve at an even higher level. That has to be fulfilling. Like, can you explain the difference between that feeling of that you had before and the feeling that you have after you have really connected with what is purposeful to you? What is that emotional feeling like?
So I would say that it is night and day. On one side, it was confusion, but it was confusion because it didn't feel right, but it was also confusing because it didn't seem like it was where I was supposed to be. I wasn't getting the results that I felt like, one, I deserved. I felt like I had put so much effort into the things that I was doing, and I wasn't getting the results that I deserved and desired. And that whole thing come from a whole childhood thing where everything that I got, I felt like I had to earn it. And a part of that, absolutely 100% true. At the same time, I live in grace. I live in favor, and so that is the other side of this. The thing is that when I think about potential, I also have to think of it from a place of God's perspective. So when he sees someone with potential, he's not seeing them at a lower level. He's seeing them in their full potential. And so on the other side of actually being active in the thing that he's given us the potential to do, then you begin to see favor, you begin to see connections. And even in this purpose phase of my life, in this proficiency and purpose phase of my life, I already claimed this, that it's going to be connections, it's going to be teaching, it's going to continue to be growing in education. And so on this side, it feels like another level of satisfaction, but at the same time, it feels like another level of responsibility. Oh my goodness, because it's an opportunity to pour back into the people that's trying to get through the jungle, the wilderness that I already had to go through. And so that is what it is. It's like you get to pour back into people that's still figuring it out. And that's not nothing. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just saying, hey, I have the blueprint. And so that's what it feels like.
Oh, that's so good. Thank you for sharing. So let's shift a little bit. And I want to give our audience just a taste of, from your perspective, what Offer Mastery Live 2023 was like for you. What is like maybe two things that you can share with them that you experienced? I mean, we've been with Myron for a long time, but that event was special. It was beyond special. What are two of your like biggest takeaways that you can share with our audience?
So I was doing two things while I was there. I was participating and I was spectating. I was participating as somebody in the audience that was like engaging with what was being said. And I was also spectating on how the operation of the whole challenge, the whole live experience was going. Why? Because I'm seeing a vision in my mind of what my future reality is going to be. And so while I was there, I'm like hearing these different speakers. It was speaking to my soul, saying, make more offers. And I'm finally getting it. It's not just like make random offers. It's making more offers that get the people that desire to work with you and desire the transformation that you bring. How can they find you? How can they work with you? How can they get in the bottom level and ultimately creep up to the top? And so making more offers, it looks like it's looked like a stairwell. What does your stairwell look like? Well, me, I created a whole bunch of content with no way for people to ultimately get connected with me in a way that I could create a transformation. Because like this is another takeaway from the live challenge, from the live event. And I just did a video on this about the offer that Jesus made. And so this was it was a tidbit, or it's piggybacking off of something that we heard. But the offer that Jesus makes over and over and over throughout the Bible is he's saying, I want everything. I don't want just a little bit of you. His offer is, if you want the transformation that I have for you, if you want that from potential to purpose, it takes everything. That's the cost. That's the cost. And so when I'm following Jesus and giving him all that I have, it's all of me. It's not just a piece of me. And so what I got from the live event was that it's all of me. For my clients, for my customers, I have to understand them in such a way that I'm speaking their language so that they can connect with me, not because I'm so great, but because I'm the guide that could help them get to the place that they desire to be. And so it's that transformation. And that's what it taught me. And that's what I saw. I saw a transformation in myself, but that's also what it taught me with the different principles and strategies that we talked about.
I love that one in particular. And I did listen to your latest podcast where you were talking about price and cost. And that's what I do believe a lot of people don't understand. There's a price to be paid for everything.
Yes.
Very rarely do we consider the cost. It's going to cost you something. It's going to cost you to take action, and there's a cost that's associated with inaction.
Absolutely.
And you have to decide which one you're willing to pay, because the outcome, the cost is always greater than the price. And people get confused and they think it's the same thing, but it's not.
Yes, that's so good.
Yeah, that's good. That was good. I like that one too. I like that one too. So that was good. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
I know you have an event that's coming up next week, as a matter of fact. It's a challenge that you're you're promoting for people to launch courses.
Yes.
First of all, before we talk about the challenge, how is it easy to write a course, like to prepare a course? Like, can you kind of give us a glimpse into what that's like?
Okay, absolutely. And so even with creating a course, I spent so much time creating courses that I actually never created transformation for people. And so it's simple. It really is. So the thing is that first you must identify who you're talking to, who your target audience is, and who, because in order to create that transformation, you have to speak that language, like I was saying. So it's identifying the who, now it's identifying the idea. So this idea could come from your education, it can come from your experience, it can come from your expertise, but it's this story that we tell that ultimately get people from point A to point B and feel like they can actually do this thing. And so it's the idea, and then it's ultimately finding out, okay, so with the idea, how do I what is the framework? If this is where I want to get them, they're at point A and I want to get them to point Z, what is the framework? What is the step-by-step process to ultimately getting them where they need to be? So what I've learned is that it's not that great to create a course in a vacuum. And what I mean by that is not that great to create a course without live people there. And the reason I say that is because your experience is going to be very much different from someone else's experience. So having people, and you've been through the process before, and you know enough about your topic that even when people start asking questions, it's probably something that you have already been through, but you're not thinking about it because you're no longer there. And so what you would do, you would identify the who, then you identify the story or the idea, the thing that you believe you can help transform their life with. Then you do the framework. And like I said, the framework is the point A to point Z. The beauty about the framework is that it takes the pressure off of the person. I used to think that I was their transformation, but it is the framework that's the transformation for people. And so I'm just the guide. Like I said, I'm just the one that says, hey, it's this way. Like we've been here before. I got the blueprint. It's this way. I'm just the one to walk beside them. And so it's the framework. So when you figure out your frameworks, now you're able to walk people through those frameworks to get them the results more predictably. And that's that level of proficiency that you want to have, where it's predictable results. And so that's how simple it is to create a course, really.
Well, I think it's important because, and I'm glad you're doing a challenge on this, because I think when you say create a course to the average person, it is so intimidating.
Mm-hmm.
They seem like it's so intimidating, but with your framework, you make it manageable, where you take them step by step through a journey on how to do that. And it's not as difficult as one may seem. All you have to do is follow the framework.
That's it.
So So with that said, your challenge, can you tell our audience a little bit about your challenge? Because it's coming up on what day is it next week? The
It'll be the 29th.
The 29th.
29th of June. And
Tell
then
us about,
we're going to be doing it monthly.
You know what? And you know what, Raekwon, some people don't even know what a challenge is. So
Okay.
can you approach it from that perspective and then take
Yes,
through that? Yeah.
absolutely. So first of all, a challenge is a challenge. A challenge is not where you come and you listen to the information and you're like, man, that was good. Like, no, a challenge is where you come and you have already identified yourself saying that I am ready for something different. I'm ready to have a transformation in my life. I'm ready to be challenged. And so when you come into a challenge, and for instance, my challenge, the launch the course challenge, you are launching the course, and I'm talking about in 3 days. Even if it's not the perfect course, even if no one shows up, I am saying that you will not create a transformation if you stay in a vacuum, if you stay in the back, if you keep your message and your transformation to yourself when you're called to someone else. We're launching the course. We're saying, hey, we're talking to your people. Hey, I can get you guys this result. And I'm going to walk you through this framework on how to actually get that result. And so it's that. It's a challenge where you come and you become a transformation so you can go and transform other people. And so it's an action. It's a place of action. And so that's one thing that I really, really love about it. And so with the Launch the Course challenge, we're digging into, because it took me 4 years to identify who I was talking to. It took me 4 years because I wanted to help everybody.
Wow.
I thought that everybody was in my audience. I thought that everybody needed me. But now that I've identified who I'm talking to, I can help who I'm talking to, and then I can get the overflow, the people that will resonate with my message. And so that's the beginning of it. We're identifying, and it's almost just like identifying what you're going to do with creating a course, but it's launching the course. And so in launching the course, we're identifying the who, and we're identifying the who, and we're going to spend some time on that, because you have to know the language. And so I talk about how I did a podcast about how me and my wife, how my marriage impact my marketing, because I know what she like, I know what she don't like, I know what she love, I know what gets her excited. And so when you have marketing like that, when I want to spend time with my wife, I know exactly what to do. And so when you have marketing that identifies with the person that you're talking to, it attracts them. And so we want to identify who we're talking to. And then we want to identify that message, that transformation. And we want to get knee deep into what that transformation was for you and how to clearly communicate that thing. Because the thing is, the thing that happens with communication is that the worst thing that happens with communication is assuming that it happened. And so when communication happens, it's what I'm saying in my mind, you're saying in your mind. When communication doesn't happen, is I'm saying one thing, but you're saying something totally different. And so if I'm walking you through this story of mine and it's not resonating with you because you're confused, then it's not impactful for you. You won't be able to really get on this journey with me. And finally, the marketing. So understanding how to market your course in a way that, again, attracts the people that you want and repels the people that you're not looking for. And as an example that I always give is like, if you have the best racket, you got the best racket in the market, and then you go out to the countryside with the farmers and you showing them like, look at how nice my racket is. It's the best racket on the market. It got the best bounce, best spring, and all these things. It's like, they don't care. They're not your audience. And so when it comes to marketing, we jump deep into how to market and how to get your message in front of the right people. And so that's ultimately the challenge. It's literally knee-deep frameworks on how to take your idea, put it in a course, and ultimately get it into the marketplace. So that's what we're doing.
Okay. So since we're here, already here, who is this challenge for?
So this challenge is specifically for coaches. So coaches that have an education, an expertise, or an experience that can create a transformation for other people. And so it's really that simple. It's not for everybody. It's for people that's ready to go now. Many of them already have their framework and things like that done. And so they're able to jump right into the challenge and then go and launch that thing in 3 days. That is the point of it. So yes.
No, I like that. Launch that thing. So you really don't have to be good at something to get good at something. So launch it raw, right?
Launch it raw.
Yeah. Launch it. Launch it raw. And you're gonna give them some things to dress it up with. And by the time they're done with your challenge, they'll be able to just launch. Well, I'm excited for you. So all of you coaches out there, you heard it. Launch Your Course Challenge is going to be premiering, was it June 29th? What time?
So it's going to be at 6 p.m. So the VIPs will start at 5, and then the general will start at 6 p.m.
So you have a general admission and you have a VIP experience. Can you share with our audience what that means?
So VIP means that you get an extra hour one-on-one with me answering your questions when it comes to business and creating this, basically launching your course. So whatever questions that you have when it comes to lead generation, funnels, and different things like that, we'll be able to really dig deep into whatever problems that you're having beforehand. And then when we get into the actual challenge and the general admission, it's us walking through those frameworks to ultimately get you the result that you desire. And so the VIP is that one-on-one, not really one-on-one, but group, almost like a group coaching before the actual challenge. And so it's really so good. It's so valuable because when you have specific problems, it's nice to have specific answers. So that's what it's for.
Yeah, and that's the value of any VIP community, to be in the room with other people who are looking to elevate at whatever it is they're in that particular room for, because there are people who will ask questions. Let me tell you, and Raekwon will tell you also that, man, I wish I would have thought about that question. I'm so glad I'm in the room to benefit from the answer. So the community is so rich. So VIP gives you an opportunity to lay it all out on the table. So we're going to put the link for the challenge in our description area. Please don't miss it. You won't regret it. So you can then launch your course based on your experience, education, and expertise. So you can begin to provide influence, impact, and income for yourselves and for other people. So thank you so much for providing that value in the marketplace for us, because it's so needed, because a lot of times we just don't know where to start.
Yeah, that is so true. So
is there anything else you would like to leave our audience with today as we close out this amazing conversation on purpose and prosperity? We're gonna put your YouTube channel in the description section. Tell us, like, how can we connect? How do we stay connected?
Yes. So on YouTube at Beyond Prosperous, and on Instagram at Raekwon_Jones, and you'll figure out the spelling. Whatever, I could put that somewhere, and I'm sure it'll be in the description. And also on Facebook, it's Raekwon Jones. It's Potential Productivity, Proficiency, and Purpose. That's my business page. And so you can also like it there and follow me there. I would say one last thing that I would leave with the audience is this. It's to charge your worth. I think that for many Christians, it's very difficult to charge a certain price because of experience and things like that. So I had this is coming from the live event. I'm having these thoughts, and I'm just like, we are subjecting people to devalue what their gift is because we won't charge our own value. And so when we charge our value, I'm saying that when you pay somebody and you got it for cheap, when you are ready to offer what you do, now you're going to give somebody else a discount. You have to charge what you're worth. And so that is the last thing that I want to leave you with. Whenever it comes to charging and the value that you bring, don't be afraid to charge what you're worth.
That's some good stuff, because I think one of the takeaways from the conference was the way you treat the world is the way the world treats you.
Yep. That's so good. So good.
And we don't even know it's happening. So with that said, thank you so much for being here with us today. Great conversation. And as we close out, if this has helped anyone, what I want you to do is like, subscribe, share, and this is going to be so helpful for somebody else. I know it is. So thank you for sharing all of your insight. It has so much added value. And until next time, I am checking out with Raekwon Jones, and this is Dr. Marnita on fire with P3 Purposepreneur TV, where pattern makers are move makers. And we definitely had one today. So thank you very much, and we'll talk to you soon.